Time would stand still for Gohan and Cell, as both warriors stood across from one another. It was as if they had been created for this very moment in time. There was something within them, something within their very body, their essence of being, that told them this was their moment. For Gohan, he had been raised by both Goku and Diana. He adopted many attributes from his parents. He developed the warrior spirit. But at the same time, there was a calm and peaceful nature within him. A nature undoubtedly cultivated by his mother. While Gohan would enjoy a good spar, and while a fight could be exhilarating, in the end, he did not crave for violence and destruction. Of course, his father played a role in that as well, ultimately shaping Gohan into the young man he had become. Someone capable of understanding many truths, even at a young age. Understanding that violence was sometimes a necessity to achieve peace, but that it should not be the first option. All of that, all of the battles, everything he had experienced up until now, as he looked into the eyes of his opponent, he couldn't help but feel a tinge of sadness. For Cell, for everything that she had been, for everything that made her who she was, this was the best she could do. Cell could see that look in Gohan's eyes. It was strange how much it affected her. It angered her to an extent. But at the same time, there was curiosity. Because the way he looked at her was unlike anyone else. Like he genuinely wanted to understand her. What good it would do him. So, are we just going to stare longingly into each other's eyes? Or are we going to fight? Is that really the best we can do, Cell? Oh, please. I've already been given the preamble speeches by your mother and father. Don't tell me that they turned their son into a pacifist. I don't think you understand, Cell. You claim to be perfect, but your mind, well, your mind is still in its infancy. You don't fully grasp the situation that you're in right now. If we fight, you're going to die, Cell. Don't misunderstand me. I have no qualms with taking your life, and I won't lose any sleep over it. I only tell you this because it would be a waste. A waste? After everything that's happened, you really think that we could just call it off here? Do you know how many people I have absorbed? Or you can say kill, whatever you prefer. Do you know how many lives I've had to take? Everything I've had to do just to get to this point. And you and your family and friends did not make it easy on me, I can assure you. The lengths I've had to go to. I've had to exert myself, push myself. I've had to go above and beyond just to arrive at this point. Now tell me, do you really think I would do all of that just for it to end here? To end with a simple conversation? It's time you be given a proper education, Gohan. There are only two categories in life: the weak and the strong. The weak scramble and struggle until they eventually gain the power to be strong. I have been at my weakest point, at my weakest stage, when I could no more defend myself than a newborn child. At any moment, my life could have came to an end before it even started. But I lived. I hunted. I absorbed. I adapted. I evolved. And now I'm here. When I look at you, when I look at all of you mortals here on earth, all I see is weakness. I see no one that can rival me, no one that can challenge me. I can't find what I'm looking for with you. Then what use is this world to me? Sparing you? Your goals, your dreams, your ambitions? None of it matters. It all fades away into dust. There were people before you, just as there will be ones after, all across the galaxy, Gohan. You're not special. At least not yet. But you can be. You could be so much more. I knew it the moment I laid my eyes on you. You're not like any of the others. There's a spark inside of you. I can feel it. It just hasn't been nurtured. It hasn't been brought out. If you really want to see that spark, I can assure you, it's not going to go how you think. Well, there's only one way to find out now, is there? Gohan and Cell would begin their fight. The Z-Fighters watching on intensely as Gohan would match blow for blow with Perfect Cell. Both of them at full power. Unlike Goku and unlike Diana, Gohan didn't seem fazed. With Diana, it seemed like she was on the back foot from the start of the fight. For Goku, he held his own for a while, but even he fell to desperation. But with Gohan, there was no sense of urgency or worry on his face. He was able to take every hit that Cell could give him, and he could dish it out just as harsh. And for Cell, it wasn't quite there yet, but it was getting there. Those sparks were starting to heat up. They didn't have a fire, but they had smoldering embers that could be a flame. A flame that could turn into a fire. A fire that could evolve into an inferno. For Cell, Gohan could be the one. The one to make her feel what no one else could in this moment. A sense of desperation. A sense of thrill. A sense of longing. For the Z-Fighters, they would lie if they said they weren't impressed. Radix, Chi-Chi, Chi-Dai, Trunks, Vegeta, Piccolo, Krillin, Tien, Yamcha, everyone. Goku, Piccolo would say. Just how strong did he get? Honestly, he's just scratching the surface. Ever since Gohan was little, me and Diana always knew there was a power within him. But we didn't want to overdo it. We always wanted to let him discover it at his own pace. But eventually it became something that we couldn't ignore. I mean, think about it. Ever since he was just a little boy, he's always been able to hang with us grown adults. That couldn't be a coincidence. He has a power within him. A power that he can't fully activate yet. Activate. What? You're saying he could get even stronger? Mm-hmm. It was a while ago in the chamber. About halfway through our time there, I saw it for just a moment. It was just a glimpse of what he could be. And let me tell you, he has me beat by a mile. No amount of training in there was going to let me close the gap. You have that much faith in your boy, eh, Kakarot? Vegeta said. But of course, it's a father's job to cultivate the confidence in their child, for them to grow and to be successful. It sounds to me like you've thrown in the towel. Guess there was no point of you even fighting then. No, there was a point to it, although I doubt you would understand. I can do without the sly remarks, Kakarot. It's hard for you to understand, Vegeta. You've always been closed off, never allowing anyone else in. You only grow stronger. You can only evolve when you have someone beside you. Someone that can push you. Someone that can challenge you to be better. If I'm being honest, that's why you've always stagnated against me. What was that? Against us, Diana would say. You spent your time in the chamber, and yet you did not train with your son. Why should I? He has my DNA inside of him. He has the cells of a Saiyan warrior, a Saiyan elite. If he can't rise on his own, then what good is he? Was that the same way for you, Vegeta? Goku would ask. You just have to wait and see. When you give people a chance, more often than not, they might surprise you. It sounds like weakness to me, Kakarot. Relying on others because you can't depend on your own strength. We'll see how it fares when your precious baby boy is lying on the ground, desperately clinging to life. We'll see how your theory holds up then. Gohan would continue his battle against Cell. The fight would be similar to how it was in the original timeline, but also different. As in this version of events, Cell would actually be a lot stronger, but so would Gohan. And due to Gohan's upbringing in this particular universe, he wouldn't be held back by a sense of pacifism and not feeling the need to have to hold back, forcing Cell to actually have to increase her game if she wanted to stand a chance at winning. But of course, eventually Cell's power would prove to be too much for Gohan, forcing him into a corner in which Gohan would feel a need of desperation, hoping to close the gap once and for all and to take out Cell in one fell swoop. Goku and Diana would be worried as they saw the look on Gohan's face. They could tell that the gears were turning in his head, but what he was about to do, well, none of them could have anticipated. As Gohan charged up his Super Saiyan form, he would begin to stack Kaioken on top of it. For Goku and Diana, a look of panic started to come upon them. This wasn't what they were expecting Gohan to do. Sure, the combination would be powerful, but fire is also powerful when you pour gasoline on it. It creates a giant burst of energy, but just as that giant burst can last, it can fade away just as quickly. And they knew that if Gohan was attempting something like this was his last-ditch effort. Gohan would charge Kaioken times 10, then moving to times 20, stacking it on top of his Super Saiyan form, a supercharged Super Saiyan, who would begin to land devastating blows upon Cell. Cell could feel the intensity behind Gohan's punches, the intensity of his Ki Blast attacks. He was really trying to finish this fight as quickly as possible, and he was pouring out all the stops to do it. He was getting close, but he wasn't quite there yet. And then he went times 30, times 40, ultimately hitting his cap at 50. I didn't even think he could go that far, Diana would say. This isn't good. Gohan, you need to finish this, now! Gohan could hear the pleas of his parents. He was trying to. He was pouring everything he had into this. He had Cell on the defensive. He was beating her into the ground. He was trying to obliterate her once and for all, or at least to try to beat some sense into her. But it wasn't enough. Cell was able to survive that flurry, and Gohan felt himself powering down just as quick. Aw, what's the matter? Where was all that ferocity you just had? Is that really it, Gohan? I just... Don't tell me this is the best that you can do. Cell would kick Gohan on the ground as she started stomping her foot into his chest. You said you were going to kill me, right? You were talking such a big game, and I actually believed you. I actually believed you. I believed in your potential, that you were actually capable of doing something, only to be disappointed yet again. It seemed like the good doctor was wrong. Wrong about your father, wrong about your friends and family, and I was wrong about you. You won't be able to reach me. No matter how hard you try, your fists just can't connect. It's not that easy. Why? Do you not have enough motivation? You know if you lose, your planet is destroyed. What? Is the threat of death not enough to motivate you? I'm sorry. Perhaps I should try harder. Cell then looked up to where everyone else was, and an idea came along. Okay. Maybe you just need a kickstart. I know exactly what I need to do. It's time to get back to my roots. Cell would then create 7 Cell Juniors. But they didn't attack the Z Fighters. No, the Cell Juniors started beating up Gohan, holding him on the ground and forcing his head up, making him watch. I just want you to know, Gohan, this is going to hurt me. And it's going to hurt you a lot more. But I'm only doing this for you. I promise. You'll thank me when this is over. Cell, what are you? Cell would then reappear behind all of the Z Fighters. She had moved faster than even Goku and Diana could anticipate. Eeny, meeny, miny, moe. Which of Earth's warriors has to go? Bald, skinny, short, and tall. Killing one of you may save you all. Let's see. How about you? A death beam would then be shot from Cell, piercing Chi-Dai right through the heart. Chi-Chi and Radix watched as their daughter of the future fell lifelessly to the ground. And I'll take that and double it. Chi-Chi was then shot in the belly also. As she lied in agony, Krillin would reach for a Senzu bean only for Cell to snatch them away and burn them. No, 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 please! Ah! Chi-Chi! Raditz raced to her and to Cheetah, holding his wife and daughter. Oh, Raditz, Cell would say. In case you didn't know, I'll fill you in. I believe your wife had a little surprise she wanted to share with you. Well, it's a barbecued surprise, but still, congratulations, Papa. You are going to be a father again. What? What? I didn't get a chance to tell. Oh God, please, Raditz. She's Chi-Chi. You bastard! Raditz would charge in a Super Saiyan form. Vegeta couldn't believe what she had just done. Trunks was charging in right behind, only for Cell to take them out. Krillin would try to intervene, but he would be swatted away. So too would Tien and Krillin and Yamcha and everyone else. Goku and Diana would charge up as they went and charged at Cell with everything they had. Cheetah and Chi-Chi lied on the ground dying. Chi-Chi going through a state of shock, as now Cell had confirmed that she was going to be a mother again, and that she had lost her child. She was losing everything. Goku and Diana were desperately trying to hold off Cell. They had made a mistake. Screw this tournament. Screw the rules. What you've done is unforgivable. Kaioken! You're going to pay, Cell, Goku would say. Diana and Goku would both charge at Cell. But Cell, she could fend them both off easily. Aw, if only you had fought with this level of intensity earlier. Then maybe they all wouldn't have to die. But don't worry. You'll be joining them soon enough. You! Goku would attempt to use instant transmission to get behind Cell. Diana would go in for an attack from the opposite side, only to have her arm broken. She would be slammed into the ground as Goku would attempt to charge at Cell once again. Gohan yelling and begging for her to stop. But as Goku would try, Cell would smile. I remember when you performed a certain maneuver on me. But now, let's see if you can take it. What? Cell would move out of the way with instant transmission. Goku couldn't see where she was or where she had gone. He couldn't sense her. No! Cell! Cell, don't! Cell would then appear behind Goku, her energy fully charged. Cell! Cell, don't! Goodbye, Goku. In an instant, Goku would be vaporized. What was left of him, well, let's just say it wasn't worth looking at. Diana, seeing her husband being eviscerated in such a way, she would charge at Cell also, only for her to be destroyed as well. Gohan couldn't believe it. The Cell Juniors continuing to beat him down as he watched his family being destroyed. No. No. Mom. Dad. No. No. Gohan's power would begin to fluctuate, a strong aura beginning to emanate from him. Cell could feel that sharp burst in power, and she knew what that was. That's it. That's what I want. Yes. Yes. That's it, Gohan. You're finally doing it. You're giving it all. That's all you needed. A little motivation. A torrent of yellow and red would begin to swirl around Gohan. His power was starting to eclipse even Cell's in that moment. The embodiment of his rage, his hatred, his eyes filled with a visceral look of disgust. Gohan had achieved Super Saiyan 2, but he wasn't done there. He stacked Kaioken on top of it. As the other Z-Fighters watched on, Victor's calculating of Gohan's power would break to his scanners. There's no way. This level of power, it's insane. As Vegeta and the others looked on, those who were still able and capable of moving and fighting, Gohan's power became like that of a monster. His consciousness, it was all gone. Gohan wasn't even there anymore. The Cell Juniors would all be pushed away with a beam of orange energy consuming them in the process. Gohan's eyes became hollow as he looked to Cell. The only thing he could think: destroy, kill. What happened next was not for the faint of heart. I wish I could tell you that Cell put up a good fight. I wish that I could tell you that Cell had time to reconsider what she had done. But no, she had awoken the beast, and the beast craved only destruction. In that moment, Cell finally came to realize that there were things in this world, things that should not be explored, powers that should not be unleashed. And unfortunately, she would pay with her life. It was all a blur. But Cell was gone. When it was all said and done, Gohan was left in a torrent of power. Vegeta, Cyborg, Trunks, Radix, inconsolable. At this point, he's gonna destroy the entire planet. What? Vegeta would say. His power, it's becoming way too unstable. If he can't get it under control, the whole planet's doomed. Father, what are we supposed to do? Damn it. I didn't think Cell would do something like that. Even Vegeta was disgusted with the display that Cell had done. What she had done to Kakarot, to Diana. the suffering that Gohan was experiencing. Vegeta and Trunks would move to where Gohan was, trying their best to calm him down, but it was impossible. Nothing could reach him. There were no words that could get to him. He had just lost his entire world, all in his very face. Sure, he defeated Cell, but why did it matter? Why did any of it matter? All of this power, and yet it couldn't come to him when it mattered most. What kind of sick joke was that? As Gohan felt himself slipping, he felt something on his shoulders. 2 hands. He looked to see his mother and father standing next to him. "It's okay, son," Goku would say. "Let it go," Diana said. "How? I can't stop the hate. All I can feel is hate. I want it to stop. I want it all to stop. Please. Please. I just want to make it all disappear." "Gohan, it's not the end," Goku would say. "You're strong. You can overcome this." Diana and Goku were speaking to Gohan from the other world. The process of getting them to King Kai was a lot faster than they would have expected, but thankfully instant transmission was quite helpful. Of course, they knew they could come back with the Dragon Balls, but that wasn't the issue right now. It was getting their son under control, as he was fighting to keep that power within him, fighting to hold on to his sanity. As he felt it beginning to slip, he desperately held on. The only thing he could cling to in that moment. Hope. When it was all settled, in a deep and large crater lied a child, a boy, who had saved the world, but in the process, lost his. For the few Z-Fighters that remained, the process of restoring everything that had happened, well, it was a lot easier said than done. With the help of Dende, the Dragon Balls would be gathered, and all those killed by Cell would be brought back, even 17, 18, and 15. Of course, Goku and Diana would return as well. Gohan was relieved to see that they were alive. They were happy to be reunited as a family once again. But there was also something else. Something peculiar. Dende thought that he had noticed something for a brief moment, but it seemed to have only been his imagination. Because he could have sworn, when they were using the Dragon Balls and making their wishes, that the stars, that they quickly shifted from red to black. But they all seemed normal, though maybe he'd have to check on them again. The Dragon Balls would scatter away, and with that, peace would be restored to the planet once again. This time, however, a thorough search would be conducted by Bulma and the Z-Fighters. Any hidden labs, anywhere that there were remnants of the Red Ribbon Army and Dr. Gero, all of it was destroyed. All of his research, everything. No longer would the android menace ever return to their world, and that the legacy of Dr. Gero would die with his creations. For Goku and Diana, they would have to process their dying the way that they did. And for Gohan, it was a time for him to step away. For all the members of the Sun family. For Chi-Chi and for Raditz, they too decided that they were going to be stepping away. The path of the warrior, the path of fighting for Chi-Chi, well, it was starting to get a little too hectic for her liking. And after the traumatic experience she had at the hands of Cell, she announced to everyone that she was going to retire from fighting. For now, she only wanted to focus on raising her family. Chi-Dai, and thankfully enough, a new youngling that would be following soon after. As for Trunks and for Chi-Dai from the future, they would return to their original time, thankful for the training and the lessons they had received from the past, and with their strength, they were more than capable of defeating the androids of their future, and Cell, should he ever appear. As for Victor, now being called Cyborg, there was a lot about himself that he had to learn also. With the aid of the Dragon Balls, he was hoping he could turn back to normal, but sadly enough, the effects of what Dr. Gero had done to him, it couldn't be reversed, even with the Dragon Balls. He was an android now, and that was something he was going to have to live with. But he had help at Capsule Corp, with Bulma and Dr. Briefs. Even then, he would hope that maybe with this power he had now, he could do some good. Turn what was a tragedy, a curse, into a blessing. Vegeta wouldn't be staying at Capsule Corp for a while. His relationship with Bulma was rocky to say the least, and well, it was best if he just give them space for now. And then finally, for Goku, Gohan, and Diana, they would be relocating for a while. They would be heading to the island of Themyscira. For Diana, she wanted to learn more about her lineage. She wanted for her family to learn more about her. And also, a chance for them to grow, not just as fighters, but as a family. Through the darkness of this ordeal, the tragedies, the loss, they were able to come out on the other side. They had averted the dark fate that awaited them. And now they could look forward to a future that was bright. A future that had hope. Meanwhile, in another dimension, a short and stubby little creature of a man subjugates the Demon King under his control as an M appears on his forehead. This is glorious. Now you are subservient to me. Yes, Master Babidi. What is your will? My will, my desire, is to finish the work that my father started thousands of years ago. That pesky Kai of a woman she was. She had the nerve to interfere in our affairs, but no longer. I made sure that she could never again stand in my way. All that's left is to turn to her precious earth and destroy what remains of her offspring. Or we can use them. Yes, how poetic that the children of the one whom I hate most, to them all, I will use to restore my precious Boo. Yes, soon, Boo, you will awaken. And soon, we will bathe the universe in pure darkness. But come now, Deborah. We have much to do. More acolytes. More servants. I am going to build for myself an army of darkness. And this time, there is no one who can stop me. This concludes Dragon Ball World's Strongest. What if Wonder Woman was in Dragon Ball? Part 24, the conclusion of the Cell Saga. Now, I know that a lot of you are going to be having questions and opinions, wondering why was the ending of the Cell Saga so different from the original timeline. Well, when I make these stories, when I do them, I try not to copy and paste what the original story was. Because at that point, I wouldn't really say, it's kind of plagiarism, but it's also at the point where it's not really creative. And I know that a lot of people will say, oh, Goku's not as strong as he was in the original story, and that everyone else is just getting power buffed. But that's not really what I'm trying to go for. It's just that I want to tell a story where it's not so much focused on the power. I want to cultivate Dragon Ball stories where the fights can be impressive, they can be memorable, but it's not just about, X, Y, and Z gets more stronger and hits a stronger Kamehameha or a stronger attack. But it's about the dialogue, it's about the family dynamics, the different dynamics between characters. More of that interpersonal story. That's kind of what I'm trying to build. A story of self-discovery, of people learning who they are, learning about their past, but not letting those pasts define them. And with the Android saga, with the Cell saga, that's kind of like what I wanted to tell, With the character of Cell, when I made Cell the way that Cell ultimately ended up being, it wasn't to just do, what the original Cell was, but it was to do a Cell that had a warped view of what existence was, of what true power was. And that's kind of like what Cell is. Cell goes on and on about being perfect, about achieving perfection. But at the same time, Cell kind of misses the bigger point, and it's kind of like what I wanted to do with the androids in general. It's the idea that the androids have free will. It's kind of like a running gag with how many times the androids pretty much disobey anything that Dr. Gero programmed in them to do. And it's like they have the free will to do what they want. But more often than not, they still find themselves kind of doing what Gero wanted them to do. Like the androids going to look for Goku, even though they don't have to. But one by one, they all kind of change that fate. 17, he sacrifices himself to save 18. You have 16 giving up his life to save Cyborg. And I will say, I am disappointed in myself that Cyborg didn't play as big of a role in this story as I wanted him to. He served his purpose in the grand scheme of things, but still, I do want to try to do better by him going forward. And I do want to work more on that family dynamic, with Goku, Diana, Gohan, just being a fun-loving, free-spirited family that kind of just travel the world. I'm kind of modeling the Sun family after the Secret Saturdays, not like as an adventurers, but, kind of like adventurers, just a family that they train together, live together, love, and they just travel the world on a grand adventure. And that's kind of what I'm trying to go with this series. But, to each their own. But I thank you all for sticking along. Thank you all for being supportive. Stay tuned next week as we're concluding Anime DC Comics Chapter 2, Journey into the Infinite Earths, as we wrap up What If Luffy Was Aquaman, and we wrap up What If Shido Was the Flash. Then after that, we're taking a short break before coming back hard to close out 2024, closing it out strong. We've got 12 stories in total for the remainder of the year. So definitely got a lot to look forward to, and I can't wait to share it with you all. So thank you for your support. Like I say, can't do it without you. You make the channel grow. You make the core grow. But anyway, that's going to do it for the end of today's video. I'm Javon Harrington with Power Core Productions and Podcastings, signing off, and I'll see you next time.